All right, guys, we are live. I got Jake here from Dex Finance. How you doing, Jake?
Very good, very good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. We got a lot to discuss here. So I want to give the truth community some info also before we get going, before we get into CETO swap and everything like that. So basically, truth is going to become strategic. STG it'll actually be called STG AI. And we're moving to AI because we actually have a couple AI investments that we're considering. And what we want to do is we want to move strategic into basically investing in AI projects. We have a really cool one that we're looking at, which is basically going to I can give you a little bit of an idea of what they're doing, but they're basically you can buy a token from any chain. It's going to hop any chain. So let's say you have a token you want to buy on Ethereum like Pepe, and you only have BNB. Well, you can use their DAX, go to their DAX, and you can buy Pepe on Ethereum, and it shows in your wallet in BNB as a wrap version. So we have a lot of cool things going on, and a lot of people have been reaching out to the team for investments, especially in AI. In my own community, my own Discord, we hit one called Node AI. We did like a 6x on it. There's another play that is actually very similar to Node AI, and Node AI went from the pre-sale price of $1 million, it went to over $100 million. You guys can check it out. Do not buy; it's pumped a lot, but it did 100x for over 100x, 120x for people that got in. So we got contacted by a group that is making something similar to Node AI. And what we want to do is we want to get into these projects early. So, we either boost the treasury or we do airdrops to the community. We haven't really decided. This is very early, but the whole strategic ecosystem is changing. And the first part of that change is also teaming up with Dex Finance. And we're kind of going to go over why we're moving to Manta and the airdrops and all of that. So basically, for all of you guys wanting to know what's going to happen is once you bridge over your strategic token, your token to strategic, there will be airdrops over the next few weeks for those people that do it. And you're going to be getting the Cedo token, which me and Jake will talk about the tokenomics of it and why the Cedo token, how it works and so forth, and how that becomes a 404. So we're going to go over a lot of stuff. So, Jake,
Can I just jump in? Let me just say that's super bullish, guys.
yeah,
If you're not following the narratives in crypto, AI is clearly the powerhouse. It's going to lead the charge. You've seen things like Tau, and there's just so many of them right now. Honestly, I know because I'm super bullish myself on the AI sector. I spend like at least 2 hours a day researching new coins, new gems, and it's tough, man. Every day the market's
many.
so it's, I want to say saturated, but it's not, because it's just starting up. You know what I mean? But it's a lot to take in. So to have a kind of a path to get some of these early entry on these winners through strategic AI, and coming from a reflection token on BSC to more of a rev share model on something that has some real utility. I think that's super bullish, guys. We should all be pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, and then if you guys look at Node AI website, the project we're partnering, well, not partnering with, potentially investing in, is kind of similar in that realm, but we're not getting in at $100 million market cap. We're going to be getting in below sub 1 million, and they're not taking, retail money. They want, $50,000 investment up front, stuff like that. So, we kind of can give people an entry into these projects they wouldn't have access to. So, that's kind of the vision. So we're still working on it, guys. Bear with us. This is kind of a new fresh start for all of us, basically. um I want to address one question here. I see somebody says they can't unstake. Yes, we know about the unstake situation. The dev is working on it. Hopefully we can get the website up very shortly, so don't worry about any of the tokens you guys have staked that you're trying to unstake. We will make sure that is operational and that you're not going to miss out on any gains or anything like that when you need a transfer over. So we are working on that, so we're aware of it. Okay, guys.
Let
All
me
right.
also just say, just to give you a real quick, just a brief kind of explanation of the process when we do start this migration. We've been through a number of very complex migrations, guys. This is going to be super easy. You'll just unstake, You're basically just going to use the bridge like you would normally use any bridge, but when you send your tokens over, they're just going to burn those truth tokens, so they'll be gone forever. And on the other side, you'll just get the new ones fresh in your wallet, just like as if you were bridging, USDC or ETH. And then once we get to CETO stuff, there'll be a lot of kind of cool options to use on those.
Yeah, and also the amount of strategic will be lower than truth. There'll be a lower supply too, because not everything from the treasury is going to come over from the truth treasury. I think we're going to burn probably well over 1 million tokens too, from the truth treasury to come over. So the whole tokenomics, the whole everything will look a lot better too. Any updates on the NFTs? Yeah, we're working on some stuff. We don't have we're working with Jake, but we're trying to figure out how to do the NFTs, give you guys a separate airdrop, how to do it. We might have to launch first and then kind of come back to the NFTs. But yeah, we're working on it. And plus the NFTs will still give you the same, rev shares and all that stuff in the new model anyway. So we should be fine there. But I think Jake had some really interesting ideas. So we're going to be talking to his team to try to figure out what other creative things we can do. So just bear with us on the NFTs. Okay. Let's talk about Cedo swap. Does that sound good, Jake?
Yeah, very cool, man. That's what we're
All
here
right.
for.
I'm excited about Cedo swap, and anybody can get the Cedo token airdrop to them, by the way, if you bridge over. So if you're going to bridge over, ETH or any other token or Manta or whatever, well, not Manta, but ETH or any other token, you can also qualify. Not as much as people who are going to bridge over to strategic, but from their truth tokens, but you can earn something. So that's the great thing. It's an airdrop for everybody to build the Manta community. But can I ask you something? Why? I kind of touched on one of my videos, but why did you feel that Manta was a good place for this to start?
Yeah. So of course, Manta is super hot right now. Anyone looking at the charts can see that it's following the same. It's a very similar pattern as another coin called Celestia. Tia is the symbol. So I mean, one is it brand new, right? We have somewhat of a first mover advantage. The big fish in a small pond kind of theory. So we'll be able to just kind of jump in right away and bring a lot of the tech and stuff that we've already been building, a lot of the new stuff, and immediately be able to grab some market share. But like I said, one of the reasons that I'm just bullish on it in general, I mean, aside from the fact that we have early adopter kind of status there, is actually the tech. And I think this is like a point that some people kind of overlook. I mentioned it's following this TIA chart, the Celsia chart.
It's crazy.
And if you're not familiar with Celsia, they came out a couple months ago. Just been booming ever since they launched. Celsia has some really interesting tech. One of their main features is this technology that they call data availability, and basically what this does is there's so all these L2s, right? They all have to pay gas fees back to Ethereum, right? Because they're technically on the Ethereum network, right?
Okay.
And like, to put this in perspective, right? Like Arbitrum, let's say, one of the bigger R2s, they paid something like $10 million last year, just to make sure that their transactions go through, right? Because it's an L2, it's not their own blockchain, right? So there's different chains coming out that are trying to make the gas fees cheaper and stuff, right? But because they're an L2 on Ethereum, which is good in a lot of ways, right? Because Ethereum's the big the big daddy of smart contracts, and you want to be associated with that, and it's there's safety and there's all these positive things, right? But again, the bad thing is the gas, right? I mean, honestly, if anyone's been trading on Ethereum just in the last couple of weeks, you'll see these $100 transactions, right? So all those, like, basically these transactions get bashed, right? And the L2s now have to send them. They're called blobs. They send these huge chunks of transactions back to Ethereum, and this costs a fortune, right? So like I said, $10 million just to run their chain, like at the very minimum, right? No marketing, nothing else, just to pay, just to get these transactions executed. But this technology that Celsia created, operates at like a 99% efficiency rate, right? So it's able to store the data from the blockchain in a way that basically costs them 99% less than any other chain using Ethereum network.
Oh, that's
Okay,
interesting.
so so like when you think about it, right? And so again, this is why I'm bullish. Manta is actually built on this data availability from Celsius, right? So
Okay.
whereas like Arbitrum, if they're spending $10 million, now Manta can do the exact same thing, but for like less than 10,000, because they're not paying these crazy gas fees because the data is all structured in a way that they can push these through the blockchain. So ultimately, that's why honestly that's why you've seen a lot of like airdrops for Mana and stuff, more marketing because they have all this extra cash laying around, right? So
Ah,
that's what we want to be a part of.
I understand now. I didn't understand what the big deal was with the tech, but this is incredible. Like this is kind of a breakthrough, no? Like,
That's a lot of money being saved. I mean,
but it's
I
only
think
being
you're going to see a lot
saved.
more springing up.
It's only being saved. The gas fees on Manta are going to be super low compared to other chains, right?
Yeah, honestly, right now even gas fees are super cheap. They're like under 10 cents for an ETH2, right? There's actually a new hard fork coming out, an update from Ethereum. It's called the Duncan update.
Right.
I think it's planned to go live this month, maybe in a
This
couple
week.
weeks. This week
No,
even,
this
yeah.
week on
Is
the
it this week?
13th.
Yeah.
On the
And
13th.
that's supposed to reduce costs even further. So yeah, I mean, like Manta Gas will be like, you know, uh, like Pulse Chain. Like we're talking about a couple cent or two maybe. Um, and even just a fraction of that now has to be paid back to actually Ethereum, so that their foundation now has more money to operate.
I see. So basically, the way Manta is going to make money is it like they charge you like 10 cents and they give Ethereum 2 cents? Is that kind of how they operate
Yeah, in theory, yeah, basically. I
in
mean,
theory?
everyone pays somebody, right? Like there's node operators to verify transactions, and there's costs associated. But the fact that they're using this data availability from TIA means like basically whatever their hard costs are, they're 99% cheaper than any of the other L2s. Ethereum,
Okay. So that's
Optimism, Arbitrum Base,
so that's super bullish. That makes me want to go buy Manta now. And I'm gonna ask the guys actually out here because Manta has actually shot way up. I don't know if you guys look at the Manta chart. I think it was up like 17 or 18% when I looked at it this morning. Um, do you guys want to pair strategic with ETH or Manta? Because if you pair with Manta, if Manta goes up like 10x, which it could, then strategic token could get a lot of that action also. It will move up about 5x based on that. Or we can pair with something safer like ETH. So if you guys could put in the comments and also in the strategic chat and just tell us before Monday, would you want the main pair to be Manta or the main pair to be ETH with strategic? Okay. So keep in mind, if you do want to pair with Mana, it'll be more degen in ways. But if Manta grows like the way we think it's going to grow, obviously the chances for growth and the higher growth is a lot more basically, right? Some pretty decent volume on Manta. Yeah. Oh, somebody says definitely ETH. Okay, you guys express yourself. What? All right. So we got that. We you have some docs coming for the DAX. So let's talk about the DAX. What is going to make this DAX special? I know there's going to be the Cedo token, but you have a special way of making this taking pressure off the farm token with a 404, which a lot of people don't know. But can you explain how the whole system's going to work so that people understand?
Yeah, of course. Just briefly, let me just kind of explain, some of the things we're just some like the 404 is definitely the kind of the kicker. I think people are excited about that one. But in general, I think one of the things that's going to make us unique just right off the bat. Um, you know, I have several projects, and we have a lot of ongoing things that are in production, coming down the pipeline. So like right off the bat, most people open it, most products start a DEX, and it's a DEX. You know what I mean? Right off the bat, we're going to be launching not only this new DEX with some new technology, but we're going to have these really advanced auto compounding vault systems. We're going to have non-custodial ETFs. We have a perpetual futures trading platform in the pipeline. So there's just going to be a lot of options coming in a very short period of time. And especially being on a new chain like Manta, I can guarantee you there's not one hub like that. There's a couple other things out there, but it's spread out. There's one DEX here, there's a platform here. So we're just going to be crushing it with just this overwhelming feature set, let's say. But yeah, like the plan for well, obviously let's go take a step back. One of the biggest downfalls is the emissions, right? People love the high PRs, right? But as we all know, inflation just is not a sustainable model over time, right? So typically what happens is these inflationary tokens come out, they pump real hard, and then they kind of fizzle out, right? In a bull run, like I said, if they're paired with something else, if they have utility, they'll get a second life. But it's really tough on its own, right? So you've seen some people have tried to do this differently with like the V33 dexes or just ways to get rid of that supply. But again, a lot of that sometimes involves vested tokens or like permalocks, that kind of thing, right? Where you're really putting the investor in a position where like, okay, I'm getting this high APR, but like, is it really high APR because it's locked for 6 months?
Right.
I gotta lock this thing forever, or it's vested for for a certain period of time, right? So in an effort to kind of ride this wave of new technology, there's a new token standard out. It's called the ERC 404. For those of you that aren't familiar with this technology, and I think you covered it in a previous video, essentially this is a hybrid of the standard token, right, that can be traded liquid, and it incorporates some elements of NFTs, right? So they call it a semi-fungible token, right? One of the downfalls of NFTs, right, if you guys are all familiar with, I'm sure, is that you can buy an NFT, but if you want to get out of it, you gotta put it on OpenSea, and you gotta wait, see if someone bids on it. It's a zero liquid market, right? And conversely with tokens, right, it's super liquid, and you can get out, but that also causes like I said, inflation, dumpage, price impact, all these kind of things, right? So we looked at the 404, and like I said, if you haven't looked at it, just honestly just go pull up Dex Greener and type in 404, Pandora, defrogs. Some of these are doing some crazy numbers, and like I said, you covered this Pandora in the last video, right? I think that's trading like somewhere over 20K right now.
$22,000 for one token, which is crazy.
And I'll tell you why. First of all, the supply, there's only 10,000 Pandora tokens, Pandora 404 tokens. So this limited supply creates this, valuation, right? But what's really interesting with these 404s is essentially every token represents one NFT, right? So,
right.
Let's say you have one token. Let's say you have one full token, right? And you sell half a token, right? That automatically burns your NFT. You no longer have an NFT, right? So now we're decreasing the supply of NFTs by fractionalizing the tokens, right?
That's right.
Conversely, right? Like if you have you buy half of a token, or you have half a token, you want to buy another half, you wind up with the full one. You automatically get one of these NFTs minted, right? And now anyone who knows me knows I'm not a big NFT guy in general. I got my own folders full of JPEGs if I need them. I mean, but I do think there is some utility in something like this, right? And I can appreciate that, and I think that's where we're going to focus on. We are working with some really cool designers right now. They're going to be cool and flashy, the NFTs, that is. But the real kicker here is that a portion of all the CETO revenue, right? We like to focus on real yield, right? So all these things we're bringing over, the swap fees, obviously, the bridging fees. We have a whole bot network, perpetual futures trading, right? These are all products that are going to bring in, substantial revenue, right? So what we're going to do is we're gonna anything we build on Cedo, on Manta, we're going to have a little kitty, right? And that's going to be broken up into different verticals, right? Things different the different revenue streams are going to come into to pay back or to pay Cedo 404 holders, right? So if you own an NFT, right, and again there'll be different types of rarities, right? If you own specific NFTs, you'll get revenue sharing from specific revenue streams. With some gamification, if you collect them all, those kind of things, you'll get bonus perks, additional like lottery airdrops, larger percentages of the revenue streams, right? So that's the overall idea, right? But which is cool in itself, yeah. You know, introducing a new concept, and in fact, we have a couple new ideas. To be honest, my team looked at the 404 code. We weren't super impressed. We might actually be introducing a newer standard of that that token. So we're going to bring some interesting things to it. But to work that back into the DEX, right? Like I said, on its own, it would be cool. You got a new standard. You got NFTs that represent real yield and protocol revenue. But how does that help? How does it help the DEX? How does it help CETO, right? So again, what we're trying to do is combat inflation, right? The emissions for all the farms are going to be in the CETO, the standard CETO token, right? So there's going to be all these pairs. You'll be able to stake and earn, farm your CETO tokens, right? And in the process, you're going to be earning more CETO. So what you can do now, and again, completely optional. We would prefer to dangle the carrot than wield the stick, right? So we're not going to force you in anything. You're welcome to just sell your rewards and do what you want with them. But we're going to give the option to be able to swap your CETO tokens with the CETO 404 tokens, right? So essentially, you can now earn these CETO 404 tokens for free. By yield farming anyway. Nothing's free, I suppose. But through this process of yield farming, right, you're going to be able to earn these 404 tokens, which are the opposite of they're deflationary instead of inflationary. Very limited supply, so price will be going up, right? So the more CETO 404 you can get early before it goes up, right? And as the price is going up, that means you'll need to spend more for CETO tokens to buy those 404s, right? And essentially, as you're doing this, you're removing more of the CETO tokens out of circulation, which is kind of the big kicker.
So this has never been done on a DEX before. So I was saying this is a revolutionary concept because what you've in essence done, and this is all Jake and DEX finance team's idea. It's brilliant, but what they've done is they're taking a farm token and making it valuable because you're going to want the CETO token to buy the 404 because the 404 is not inflationary and it also gets part of the revenues of the DEX. Am I correct in my statement there?
Okay. Absolutely. I mean, and again, we're going to have complete documentation on all this. It's kind of a tricky concept to grasp. I mean, honestly, just the 404s in general is a tricky concept to grasp.
It is.
We're going to have we're working on infographics and detailed specs and stuff. So you'll have plenty of time to look it over. In fact, it'll probably come in stages. We're launching a whole bunch of stuff in a short period of time. So there'll be plenty of time to digest it all. And I'm sure we can get, DK and Lou to make some extra videos on it and explain it really, really well. But yeah, it's pretty crazy just to implement anything like the 404 and any model. But like to put this in perspective, like I don't know, like Pandora doesn't even Pandora. They have like 3 NFTs. They're like a little box. And they're implying that they'll do something with them later, right? Like that you'll at some point you'll open the box and but it's to implement them, this new token standard and actually build upon it, right? We're going to introduce a couple new features to the 404, and then also have it like directly tied and integrated with the DEX that has real utility and actually is earning real yield. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it looks like it can work and it can combat inflation and keep a strong farm token, but we don't know until it goes live. So keep that in mind too. Like this is all very experimental stuff. This is all very new stuff. But in theory, we have on Cedo token a better mousetrap, you could say, correct? Could I say that?
Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, it for sure. Always, always be, do your research and invest safely to your, to your risk tolerance. But I will say this. I mean, of course, it's experimental, but we know in general terms what works and what doesn't work, right? We know that if you just allow the inflation to keep piling up, um, it's
Doesn't work.
not going to work, right? Um, one of our other sister projects is Spark Swap. That we've done uh, we don't have a 404, but a similar mechanic to get rid of the supply. It's called the sparkler, and basically
Sparkler.
you stake in the sparkler to earn protocol revenue. The mechanics are a little different, but the concepts are still the same. So again, completely experimental for sure with the 404s, but we have really high hopes, and we know that the general thesis works.
Um, is this kind of very similar to the Sparkler, you think, or you think it's a little bit more? It's like a next generation, maybe potentially could be a little bit more aggressive in burning.
Like I said, it's the general thesis is similar, right? It's get
Similar.
rid of it's get rid
The
of the,
farm.
the farm tokens, and make and earn real yield, right? The difference, I guess the difference is one is your like something like the sparkler, or again, I mentioned something like the X tokens or the V tokens. They're either locked or vested, right? So you don't have access to the original funds that you put in. um,
Right, right,
and
right, right.
also those are also at some point those tokens become unlocked, where they go back in the market.
Oh, I see. Become unlocked and they fall back in the market. Okay,
Right.
makes sense.
Whereas this
Yeah,
404 model,
doesn't.
those are gone. Those are gone forever. It's not coming back. No one's getting their Cedo back to sell it. You're transferring. You're replacing that with the 404. And also one of the things that I think is going to be very beneficial is because of the supply and the mechanics of the 404. Right. The 404 is intended to go up. Right. I mean, I'm not by no means I'm calling it like an up token. It's not always
Yep.
going to go up. It will come down. It's going to trade like any other token, but it's very scarce and it has real utility. So in theory, the price of 404 will continue to rise as long as we succeed as a DEX, while the price of Cedo, hopefully, I mean, it should almost follow that trajectory, or at least remain constant to keep those APRs up, because essentially you're going to have to, like if the price of 404 doubles, right, you're gonna have to spend twice as much CETO to buy the 404s, right? So you're then
Right.
removing more CETO out of circulation, which
Got
means
it.
less dumpage. When more people buy into CETO to farm, now that price is going to go up, and hopefully not comes down as rapidly as you've seen a lot of the other inflationary tokens happen.
Yeah, this all sounds great. And I'm sorry, I didn't even really introduce you because I assume everyone knows you, Jake. But the ex finance team to the strategic community who doesn't know who he is, but they run Dex Finance, one of the best projects in DeFi. I mean, the only tomb fork that kept going and going, still going. Well, it's not a tomb fork
Yeah,
anymore.
well, we've
So
we've kind of moved away from the tomb fork model, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate the sentiment for sure. In fact, honestly, we started before the Tomb Park. We started in like the old like Safe Moon reflection days.
wow,
In fact, that was a good example. We started like a week or two after Safe Moon launched. I saw this. I thought it was pretty cool. But again, we're not one to like fork, one-to-one fork copy.
right.
So in fact, we
Made it
we
better.
we made a version of kind of Safe Moon where instead of earning more Safe Moon, you could earn like a BNB or ADA, or all the blue chips. That was cool as our start, and then yeah, we did do a Tomb Fork. Um, I think we literally kept peg with USDC too. So, but
Yeah,
a hard peg at $1 for the entire period,
whole time.
and basically we just transitioned. from like the DEX share token, with inflation, right? Again, this was my crash course in inflationary model. We got rid of the inflationary model with DEX share, and we kept the stable token, the US DEX token, as like a store of value, fully collateralized it, and then now we have our GDEX token, which is non-inflationary, deflationary, in fact, that again just pays for gets holders get paid from real yield. So yeah, our focus has really been on just building good core products. Like I said, you guys are all gonna see them because we're gonna bring we're gonna bring everything over to Manta, so you'll be able to play around with it, and we're gonna bring that same kind of mentality to Cedo.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I got a couple questions here. How many NFTs do we know? How many NFTs there will be in the 404?
We actually have a quant on our team. He's got a PhD in math.
Right.
The standard is 10,000. That's what the typical
Hmm.
Pandora and the frogs, and that's what the standard's been. We're still kind of going through the mechanics specifically to us. Like I said, we're not just gonna hard fork the original contract. So the supply is definitely gonna be limited. We may just stick with the 10K. At some point, it's somewhat relative because it's based on starting price and demand and stuff like
Right.
that. But yeah, it'll be probably similar to that.
Similar to that. Okay. And then they wanted to know what is the difference or relationship between Dex Finance and CETO?
Yeah, great question. Well, obviously, DK and I have been go pretty far back, right? In fact, I'm sure you did a couple videos on the Tune Forks and some of the early projects, right? So,
Yep.
we both been around for a while in the space, and I think it is pretty rare to find like-minded individuals. We have similar circles, and we all kind of want the same some of the same stuff. Um, in fact, honestly, DK was you and I were talking about this before the call. Um, you know, like I said, we have a team of builders. We have like 25 plus developers, front end, back end, some really skilled guys, right? But honestly, it's an effort to build cutting edge technology. Um, you know, I would prefer to stay building, while DK and Lou and their team is really focused on marketing and has those connections in the space. So it takes a village. It's easier to do that, right? Like I said, we have several other sister projects in combination with our own products, right? And you know, uh, these guys approached us a few months ago. They had their truth token. They wanted to do something for the community, do right by them, which is a stellar move. That's very admirable, and my community knows as well that we never left any man behind. Even back from our original reflection token, every single one of those tokens to this day, you can still cash in a DEX IRA token, our very first token, for a GDEX token right now, right? So, that's important to me, and why I'm interested in working with you guys. But it's a good collaboration. There's going to be plenty of revenue going around. I think jack of all trades, master of none. You stick to what you're good at. Everyone gets in their own lane, and we're going to build some really cool tech. These guys are going to market the shit out of it, and we're all going to make some money.
Yeah. So basically, for the most part, it's a relationship. Dex's finance is the brains behind Cedo Swap. Fact. We can't do it. We were building a Dex with Accubits and they failed us. It wasn't very good what they were doing. We've even asked them for a refund. Like that's how bad it was. And they didn't. It was nowhere near as good as this. So I reached out to Jake. I was like, Jake, we need help if you want to partner up. And we basically handle the marketing, and he handles the technology side of it. So I think this is going to be an interesting partnership because I don't think he's ever had, uh, marketing partners like us. Hopefully, we can come through for you guys because your technology is absolutely phenomenal.
I have no doubt, man. I have no doubt.
Yeah. So, besides that, is there any other questions? Hopefully, I think that answered a lot of the stuff going on. I'm really excited about the Manta part. If you guys could tell us if you want strategic token paired with Manta or ETH, just keep telling us. because I wouldn't mind Manta. It's a little bit more degen, but I know ETH would be safer. So if you guys could give us some of that feedback from the strategic community, I would appreciate it before Monday or Tuesday, so that when we go make the pair, that we can make it with the right token. So that's it. And that's it. The website is just cetoswap.com. That's all it is.
We want to give them some alpha on the airdrop.
On the airdrop, go ahead.
Yeah. Just we don't have to elaborate. Like I said, just be patient. This whole thing's going to come in stages, right? And we'll give you guys plenty of heads up. But I know there's been some questions about it. In fact, someone in the chat yesterday said they were on the website, the airdrop website, which is definitely wrong. If you're on an airdrop website for a CETO swap, you're doing something wrong, because we don't have nothing out yet. But the airdrop will be, again, I think you mentioned CETO tokens over the course of probably several months. Starting with week 1, we'll start releasing some. But general categories, if you guys want to kind of get primed for it, will be the use of the bridge, right? So we'll have a bridge from Arbitrum, from BNB, and also maybe Pulse as well.
Wow.
So if you want to start getting your funds ready for early this week, when you bridge over, you'll get points for that. You'll get points for farming in the pools. Probably a bonus points for strategic farming and CETO farming, as kind of the flagship stakers, I guess, let's say.
Yeah.
And we'll probably introduce some type of social aspect and stuff like that. So just stay tuned to the Discords and the Telegrams, the Twitters. Feel free to start sharing stuff. We're going to start picking up marketing here pretty soon. So and airdrops will follow.
So question is, why not do both ETH and Manta pair first?
Yeah, I can feel this one. So again, the starting of a new exchange is like it's this frail little thing, right? You have so many pairs that you need to give emissions to, right? So if you just start making a bunch of these pairs, then you're basically a couple things happening. You're putting out more emissions, right? And if there's not enough volume to handle that, then you're losing money on it, right? Also, if you have 2 farms, let's say, and the total liquidity is 500K, now you have 250 in an ETH pair and 250 in a Manta pair. Now every trade is getting hit with twice as much impact because you didn't just use one pair.
Got it. That makes
So
sense.
I mean, look, if strategic is hype and we're making the volumes there, we can definitely bring in more pairs. But you want to start with a strong base, right? So the initial pairs, I mean, honestly, there's probably the initial pairs will be like maybe 7, 8 pairs, 6, 7, 8 pairs. I'm not sure off the bat, but really those are like the core pairs that make the decks work, right? You need routes to go between different things, right? So again, we're starting. We want to just be cautious, about the launch and make sure that we're not overspending on things. And then as we grow, I mean, look, you see it all the time, right? It's like, in fact, like you guys are coming from Pancake Swap, right? Man, those farms on Pancake Swap, they last like a month, if that, and then they pull them, right? Because it's like they're just throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks, right? They're like, okay, let's put this coin's hot. Let's see if it goes. We'll give our cake tokens out, but if there's no volume, they just pull it, right? They can do that probably more efficiently than us because they don't have to do it. They don't have to answer anybody. They got a ton of money, right? For smaller dexes, if you list a pair and then you have to delist it after a month, it creates some angst in the community. There's migrations involved. We want to be focusing on building a perpetual futures platform next, not migrations from a 1-month-old.
That makes a lot of sense. And I asked him the same thing. I wanted 2 pairs, and he explained this to me, and I was like, okay, that's the adult speaking in the room that actually understands these things, and that's the kind of experience we needed. So thank you for that explanation. Will they be getting points? Is a good question. For swapping CETO for CETO 404.
For airdrop points, you mean?
No, like if they own the CETO, if they get the CETO token for farming and then they want to swap it to the CETO 404, do they get like points for that? For airdrops? Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe it's not a terrible
Maybe.
idea. I guess we'll see how it goes. Honestly, I don't think like so. I mean, guys, airdrops are made for adoption, right? Like it's kind of a marketing tool. We want to get people in the decks, right? Um, it's kind of dangling that carrot, right? I don't like I said, if there we'll see how it goes, and if there's if we want more people swapping to 404s, then sure. But I don't think it's gonna be a problem, guys. People are gonna want these 404s. Like you're gonna want to get these early because if we launch at a couple $100 and in a couple weeks it's worth thousands of dollars, it's gonna be a lot harder to get those NFTs. It's gonna be harder to earn the protocol revenue, right?
Mm,
And also too, I might have overlooked this point, but to give you a better idea, the real reason why you want these 404 tokens, not only are you earning protocol revenue, right, but there's also a farm, yes, that you can farm your 404, right? So you're actually going to be earning the 404 farm will be paying like a CETO farm, like really high APR. They'll be one of the
right.
best farms. So they'll be able to earn this, early on, 1% daily, maybe maybe more if the mechanics work out, right? Because that's how APR works. If the price of CETO is
Yeah.
going up, APR is going up, right? So,
Mhm.
you know, you're going to be able to get these crazy APRs on the 404 token, yeah. But the NFT, the separate part, as long as you have enough and you get them early, you'll be able to earn the protocol revenue, right? So you're basically earning twice. It's a boosted rewards, basically double rewards for farming CETO 404.
Paul, we like 1%. Degens are back. Yes,
Man
they
after
are
my own
back.
heart. Man after my own heart. I'm honestly, I like to consider myself, on the wagon now, a reformed degen, but I slip from time to time.
Oh my goodness. And yes, the airdrops will be after launch. They will not be pre-launch for multitude of reasons. Want to allow everyone a fair chance to come over to CETO deck, to CETO swap, and we want to allow everyone enough time to get going. And there'll be multiple airdrops, right? It's not going to be just like one. So it'll be like one first one to start, and there'll be other ones like a few weeks down the road as people continue to use the bridge and continue to farm and so forth. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have like I said, we're gonna put some docs. We'll have the docs ready. I mean, they're almost ready now, so we probably have those over the weekend, and we'll put out some kind of at least a tentative schedule.
Right.
We do have we set aside a pretty substantial amount of CETO, and also too over time, they'll be worth a lot more, assuming that everything works right. So,
Assumption, yeah.
yeah. Also too, I mean, just even by not, like I said, it's a technique for marketing and for adoption.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't want to just, you know, pump the market with additional supply that people are just going to dump. We want people that are using the products to, get their, get what's owed to them.
I mean, it is a token with utility. You are going to be swapping it for a 404, which has value because that 404 is going to give you part of the revenue share. So it is definitely a better mousetrap. It is really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. When docs, when bridge, they're coming. No, tell Tim to type faster. Yes, he is. I'm sure he's typing fast. Um,
Yeah, Doc's probably this weekend. Bridge will be open Monday. Like I said, just bear with us. It's going to be like I said. It's when we say Monday launch. We're not everything's not going. There needs to be time to let people start bridging, get their funds over, so it's a kind of a fair system. Once they're over, then we need to build up some liquidity before before people just start aping in.
yeah.
Internally, we have to add all these pairs and set up all the bots, make sure there's price parity, and then the 404 token needs to be integrated shortly after that. And then along with some of our other products like the vaults and ETFs and stuff will come probably in the first
Come
week.
after. Yeah, so it's a process, guys. Don't, give them and the team and everyone here give us some time. Like even Monday might not get going the way you want. Maybe the DEX gets rolling and you can start farming on Tuesday, for example. So we also got to make sure everyone can unstake and all the systems are working. So just, be patient, but it's going to get going. And, I think the timing is perfect with Manta. Mana is just starting to take off. And I think people are just starting to notice the potential of Manta of being one of the big players in this potential build cycle coming up.
Yeah. Also I'll say too, we've done a ton of launches. The rollout plan for this one is designed purposefully, right? We don't
Yeah.
we don't want like just a huge pump and dump on the first day. You know what I mean? We want to kind of obviously we need everything to be safe and rolled out in a proper manner where everyone has the same opportunity, and it's we're slowly building this liquidity up. It's not just a couple whales that are in and dumping on us. So
Right. Makes sense. Is it possible to buy the CETO 404 with something else or only the CETO token?
technically only with Cedo, but
Mm.
you can buy Cedo and then like we'll have route. It's like you'll be able to buy it with that.
Right.
You'll be able to buy it with USDC or USDEX or ETH or whatever.
That makes sense.
It'll just go through the route through the Cedo route.
I see what you're saying. So you can just go buy the CETO token and then go buy the CETO 404. Yeah, there you go. That's one route of doing it. And then will the 10,000 token, the 10,000 NFTs be in the liquidity pool right away, or no? It's something that like slowly gets leaked into it or builds up. Like how does that work?
Yeah, so that's kind of where the magic happens. And again, we're maybe pushing the boundaries of some of the technical specs of it. Um, in 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 theory, like it's a flexible supply, right? So in theory, yeah, if we just minted out 10,000 tokens, you would in theory get 10,000 NFTs.
Right.
But again, the NFTs can be automatically burned as the tokens are transferred.
That's right.
And even as you're buying or swapping for those 404s, um, the rarities in the mints themselves are randomized, which we're also kind of looking at that model, seeing if there's maybe a better way to do that. But yeah, there's like I said, there's some gamification, and it's a fairly complex system. But ultimately, as a user, it's going to be so really simple, man. You just go buy or swap your 404s or I'm sorry, your CETO for 404, and you'll be able to start earning.
I like it. All right, guys. Well, thanks for everyone for tuning in. I think a lot of people are excited about this because this is a new way of doing it. Excited about this, excited about Manta. You've already had success on with Spark Swap, and that's people don't realize how successful Spark Swap is. I mean, it's doing an unbelievable volume months later, and
Number
it's
two
doing
DEX on
great.
Pulse.
What?
The second largest DEX on Pulse.
Yeah. And that's the idea, to become the number one or number two DEX on Manta and have a longevity. And, that's kind of the idea. And I love it.
Exactly.
And, it's fantastic. So thanks to you guys for all coming in. And we'll see how everything goes on Monday, hopefully smoothly. So
All
we'll
right,
see.
man. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Take care.